Welcome to the Writer's Journey podcast. I'm Michael Laran, a science fiction and fantasy author on a journey to go from nobody to bestseller, and I'm documenting every step of the way. Tune in every week as I pull back the curtain on my writing life and how I'm building a writing career while working a full-time job, raising a family, and attending law school classes in the evenings. You can find show notes for this week's episode, a free starter library of my fiction, and much more at michaellaran.com. Hello and welcome to episode 81. 81 is a great number. So this week I have a little bit more to talk about than I did last week. Just some weeks you're just going to have weeks where you don't have as much to talk about. So what I wanted to talk about was last week while you were listening to the episode, I said that I would be in a class teaching the principles of essentials of legal liability. Right. And so I happened to finish that class and things went very well. I was testing out some public speaking techniques that I had kind of picked up over the internet. And so watching TED Talks and watching other professionals do this. And so I tried to do some different things with them, and it was pretty cool. And so one of the things that I did was I tried to do some things with raising and lowering my voice, just some strategy things when I was trying to make points and trying to tell stories. So I did that, and then I did some things where I experimented with pacing. So I had certain stories that I was trying to tell that kind of illustrated some of my points, and so as I started telling them, I started varying up my pacing. So I would talk faster or I would talk slower, kind of depending on what I wanted to do. And so that went really well. And then just testing out some of the examples that I had. I think a lot of this will translate over into writing because some of the techniques that I used to focus on clarity and distilling the details down into something that was very simple, I think has pretty good implications or pretty good transferability over into the writer's journey and writing tip of the day and author level up and all that good stuff. So the class went really, really well. The people at the company that I taught at were really nice. They were very accommodating, gave me access to their cafeteria. I got to eat and drink as much soda as I wanted. Probably shouldn't have drank soda, but that's all they had. So you drink what they give you, right? And I was about 2.5 hours away from where I live, so I had to get in my car and drive 2.5 hours away, and stayed at a hotel room the night before. And hotel was kind of interesting. There were some, let's just say, shady people at this hotel. I mean, it was a really nice hotel. The hotel itself wasn't bad, but some of the people staying there were a little questionable. But other than that, everything went really well, and it was a nice long ride to get there and back, and I got to do a lot of reflecting. It's been a while since I've been able to kind of reflect by myself on a long car ride, and on the way there, some of the drive, about 30 minutes, was interstate, and then the rest of it was county roads. And if you've ever been on county roads, you know that late at night and there's no moon, there's nothing around a lot of the times. And so I had to drive with my high beams on. That was a little harrowing, but I was kind of glad that I didn't have to make this trip in the winter. Because I'm just thinking, if something happens to me, or if I crash my car, or if my car breaks down, I just need to do the little Crash Bandicoot thing when he dies on the video game, where he puts his hands together and becomes an angel and just goes up into heaven. No one would ever find me out in the middle of nowhere. It's amazing how few people there are once you get out of the major cities. So anyway, that was great. I got to do some reflecting, caught up on some of my podcasts, and been listening a lot to The Unmistakable Creative. That is a great podcast by Srini Rao. I've been listening to him for years, and he had some great interviews that I was trying to catch up with. So be sure to check out that podcast if you want something fun to listen to that is not writing and that is interviews with interesting people, right? And so, yeah, I just got thinking about my life and thinking about some of the things that I want to do and some of my ambitions. And, one of the things that I was thinking about was that I really do want to leave this world karma positive, right? And so, people talk all the time about being carbon neutral or, having a tiny carbon footprint, and I thought about that, and it's like, well, out of all the things I'm doing in the world, if I can get some things accomplished and make some money and impact people's lives in a positive way, in such a way that I leave this world karma positive, meaning I leave the world through my actions better off than when I entered, I think that's a pretty good thing. And so, I was thinking about that, and my buzzwords are thoughtful and intentional, and maybe I'll start using the word karma positive a lot more. Right? I don't know. I just think that there are so many people in the world who think that the only way to get what they want is by stepping on people or by deceiving people. Right? And so I work in corporate America. I deal with some of those people firsthand. People like that are in every industry. They're everywhere, right? And I get kind of tired of it. And so I think that one of the things that I want to do with my own personal life is to be successful without having to double cross or backstab anybody. Right? I'm not trying to do that. But anyway, that is just one of the things that I was thinking about while I was on the road. But funny story. So I had some pretty bad luck on Monday of this week. So this was, I don't know if there were some bad vibes in the air or bad energy in the world or something, but man, Monday was just a crazy day for me. So I woke up and everything was normal and went to work. I was a little late because, some traffic was bad, but that's, not a big deal, right? I've got a pretty flexible schedule. And so I get logged in, getting ready to kind of do my work. And then my wife calls me and she says that her car won't start. And so I'm like, oh, great. So we knew that the battery was probably going to go out at some point in her car, but, I wasn't expecting it to be today. So I got on the phone with the insurance company, called them, called the towing company, and they were great. They got out there within like less than an hour. And then the tow company calls me and he says, hey, I'm here to pick up your car, but I don't see a key. So it turns out my wife forgot to leave the key. She took an Uber to work, but she forgot to leave the car key at the house. Now, fortunately, the doors were unlocked and the guy was still able to take the car. So then I had to go on my lunch break and drop the key off and then come on back. And then while I'm coming back, my mom calls me and she says, hey, I had to come pick up my daughter. She had to go pick up my daughter because my daughter got sick at school. Basically vomited all over the classroom. And so I'm like, oh, no, great. So my daughter's sick. So then I go through the rest of the day and, work was surprisingly cool. Like nothing went wrong at work. Then I come home and then my puppy is like limping. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What the hell's going on here? So somehow, I don't know what my puppy did. She was in the backyard and did something. And I guess she sprained her paw or something. So my wife had to take her to the animal hospital that night. And the vet saw her and, the vet said everything was fine. And lo and behold, came home and I said, you know what? I can't make any more decisions tonight. I'm going to sleep. And that's exactly what I did. I went to sleep. So I don't know what that was. The next day was fine. I mean, it was no big deal. But like I said, must have been some bad energy in the world or something on Monday. Curious if any of you listening to this had a bad day on Monday. If that proves my theory that there's just some days where the energy in the world is just off. That was one of those days. So quick writing update. Things are going fantastically well, actually. So you're listening to this show, so I was able to take care of some episodes of The Writer's Journey, was able to take care of about 2 weeks of writing tip of the day, and Author Level Up, still figuring out what I'm going to do for the month of November and December. So I hope to have that locked up probably this week. And then school's going great. Just finished the textbook. So I finished this 700-page textbook in about a month. So that takes a huge weight off my shoulders because now I don't have to worry about any surprises. Nothing will be a surprise at this point. And so now I've just got to go through some of these secondary sources with the class and read some commentaries on the cases. And I'm probably going to go back through and read most of the cases again, just because I'm kind of at a disadvantage with this class. And so I want to make sure that everything goes well and that I absorb the material. And so, yeah, things are going good. This was one of those weeks where I think it's officially 1 month into the semester now. And so I think I've kind of figured out what the new normal is. And so now I'm just trying to figure out how to adjust to it. But I have been getting that hankering again to write some more fiction. So slowly, it's slowly starting to grow. It's funny, like I go through these phases where I write a lot of nonfiction, and I go through these phases where I write tons of fiction, and it kind of ebbs and flows. And I can kind of feel that fiction desire creeping up. And so I've been getting a lot of ideas about book 2 in my Good Necromancer series, and I'm really excited about that. So I think I'm probably going to get back to that sooner than later. For those of you who have read The Good Necromancer, that's probably good news for you. So that's all I have for this week. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope wherever you're listening to this, you're in a safe spot. And I hope that the rest of your week goes amazingly well, and that there's no bad karma or bad energy that impacts you like it impacted me on Monday. So with that, I will sign off for the week, and I'll holler at you next Thursday. Thanks for joining me this week. If you enjoyed this episode, you'll enjoy my backlist episodes at michaelaran.com/podcast. For your free starter library of my favorite novels, join my fan club by visiting michaelaran.com/fanclub. If you're a writer and want to connect with me further, check out my YouTube channel, Author Level Up, for helpful writing advice at authorlevelup.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.